We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party, flyer than everybody.
We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party.
What's going on, everybody? This is Carbon again, coming at you with some tips and tricks for settings within Blackout. Now, I say that within Blackout because Blackout settings can be a lot different than multiplayer settings. And the main difference is because in Blackout, most of your engagements are longer range engagements than in multiplayer. In multiplayer, you're constantly turning on people. You need that high sensitivity. But in Blackout, you don't. You need that reticle to be center on that target at long distances without having to go too far left and too far right without overcorrecting all the time. So the first ones we're going to talk about here within controls is we're going to go through all of them. But the very first one is the look sensitivity, horizontal or vertical. Now this is going to be for people using the standard PlayStation 4 Bluetooth controller, the DualShock controller. Now for the horizontal and vertical, I would always keep these within the same number. Vertical can sometimes be a little bit lower than the horizontal because you are usually trying to correct your aim by going left and right, not up and down. So these can vary between the same. So sometimes I'll play on 5 and 6. I really don't. To me, they're about the same. But your sensitivity for ADS sensitivity, and this is on weapons that aren't high zoom. These are for your submachine guns. These are for your ARs with red dots. Like these are for your shotguns. You are going to want these a little bit lower as well. Because even with a submachine gun or specifically an assault rifle, if you are tap firing or you are full auto, you are going to want your sensitivity to be lower because you don't want to have to keep overcorrecting. Now this is the same for high zoom. I recommend just lowering it down because it's always great to have a steadier aim with a sniper rifle, so I would vary between 0.5 and 0.75. And then target assist and aim assist are of course always going to be on. There is no arguing that. Those two are just always on. Controller vibration, I turn this off for two reasons. One, to save controller power, and also I don't like distractions for my controller because it seems like a lot of things can activate the controller that don't need to activate it. And then sprint cancels reload, I would turn this on. This comes if you are in a engagement and you start reloading your weapon and you need to stop reloading your weapon and sprint. This is the perfect opportunity to do that because if you reload, you can't sprint until that reload is over, but you might need to get to cover quickly. There are many ways to, even if you have it off, there are many ways to cancel a reload before the reload actually ends, and that is such a term like YYing. Now, YYing is also triangle for PlayStation, and the term is called YY'd, but if you are shooting at somebody and you start reloading and you need to quickly start shooting at them again because maybe somebody else joined the party, like a third-party engagement, or there's actually 2 people or 3 people, there's just more than you thought, and you need to deactivate the reloading, you just press triangle twice, and it should be fine. But sprint cancels reload, I think that should always be on. Auto mantle should be off. You do not want to auto mantle things. Let's say you want to jump in a window, but not inside the window. You don't want to go in the window. You just want to jump up to look in the window and back down. This will prevent you from automatically jumping into that window, launching you, or mantling that window into the room. You want this stuff turned off. There are times where you are jumping in a shooting engagement and you jump, and it auto mantles something, it freezes you in that position for a couple of seconds, and that is a huge disadvantage. Stick layout, that's going to be default. And then button layout. Now, by default, this is the control layout, and your melee attack is R3, and your jump is X, and your circle is crouch, and your heal is L2. But what I recommend you doing is switching either bumper jumper or bumper jumper tactical, and switching R1 and R2 and L1 and R2. Have them flipped. By default, this is your ADS would be L2 and your fire would be R2, but you want them flipped. You always want them flipped. You want the button to be L1s, not the, throttle buttons in the back there. But yeah, bumper jumper is gonna have you jump with L2, keeping your thumb on the analog stick when you're jumping. And Bumper Jumper Tactical will allow you to crouch with R3 and still jump with L2, keeping your thumbs on the joysticks, which is the biggest tip I can give to anybody playing any first person, or not even for just any Call of Duty right now. Bumper Jumper Tactical is the way you want to go if you do not have a SCUF controller. But this will leave healing with X and melee with circle. You'll get used to it over time, believe me. Meleeing becomes just as easy as R3, but you want to make sure you're always keeping your thumbs on the engagements if you're running and crouching, which are huge movements to be doing in an engagement. And then as far as your graphics, there's not much to change for Blackout, but if you are a multiplayer player, I recommend changing your player name indicator to icon only. This will magnify their health bar, which is a big amount of information. You want to see their health bar. You don't really care about the person's name you're shooting. You want the icon. You'll learn who the people are based on their outfits. Alright, so as far as audio, you want to turn the music off. Music will always be off. You don't want any sort of distractions, but yet keep the sound effects on. You always want that. Cinematics volume, I don't really see that as a big deal, so I keep it on 10. But if you are wearing headphones like myself, you are going to want to keep the audio preset to headphones. Headphones, headphones, headphones. This is what it is by default, Treyarch mix. You want headphones. If you're just using a TV, yeah, use a Treyarch mix. Maybe use Super Crunch. If you like your headset or your speakers to your TV or your computer, you're not going to want to use these. That just takes the life out of them, you know? So yeah, keep them on headphones. Controller sound, you're always going to want off as well. You're not going to be listening to the controller sound. You can't hear it anyway, and that's also a waste of battery. And now as far as Blackout, you are going to want to play with minimap, whether if you like it square or round. I like square just because it covers more surface area than a circle does. So it's more information, you know, just to kind of like see what stuff's around. Item pickup, you are going to want to change this to press. It comes by default as hold. You're going to want to press. So when usually you have to hold square to pick up nearby items. Now you will press square. This prioritizes picking up nearby items over reloading weapons. It's amazing. Switch it. Do it now. And then as far as muting, mute all except party, I keep that off because I like to hear people rage when I kill them. And then content filter, of course, you want the graphic content to be on unless you're a kid or a parent that has, you know, people playing. If your kid's playing, you're going to want the graphic content off. But yeah, that's basically the settings, guys. I hope you learn these settings. I hope you have fun learning them, knowing that you can only get better. This will increase your wins, your kills, your KD, everything, man, everything. So yeah, leave that subscribe, leave a like, leave some comments for any more tips and tricks you think people should know. And yeah, peace.